We love technology, but not unconditionally, and it doesn't always love us back either. Sometimes it can fight us rather than delight us, confuse rather than amuse, be destructive when we need it to be productive. Sometimes that's because of bad design, sometimes bad users, and sometimes because, well, it was just a really bad idea in the first place. And with that in mind, here are 10 of our least favourite things in tech. This sci-fi favourite is hamstrung by the laws of physics. Making vehicles that fly is considerably harder and more expensive than making ones that roll. Even if we get the tech right, there's the more fundamental issue in that unless they're fully automatic, flying cars would cause carnage. Next time you're driving, make note of your fellow motorists. Now imagine them all airborne. Apple's refusal to allow demo versions of apps and people's unwillingness to pay for content have created horrible consequences as developers try to make money from their applications. Most developers are honourable, but many will be familiar with producers of games that are effectively unplayable without in-app purchases. Our advice? Get help finding the good stuff and be willing to pay for your entertainment.
I spent $1,000? Oh well, I'll just tell them it's my kid did that.
Microsoft's KINECT sensor is the stuff of sci-fi, but unfortunately, it's often of the dystopian, nothing really works variety. It ignores our kids, gets confused by dogs, struggles in small rooms, and is a pretty awful way to control your skybox. CAPTCHAs are the little boxes designed to frustrate spam bots, but as each new generation gets cracked, they become harder for us humans to decipher. It seems like sites could easily remedy this by using puzzles, simple arithmetic or SMS verification instead, but what do we know, right? A lot of smartphones seem to be good at everything but the phone bit. We've lost count of the number of times even short calls have turned into marathon games of telephone tennis as calls randomly drop or go silent, usually thanks to poor coverage. For consumers, Windows RT was a confusing mess. Basically a Windows that didn't run Windows programs and whose predicted army of low-cost tablets didn't appear. Most of the manufacturers that could even be bothered to launch RT tablets bailed out by last summer. The Surface 2 is better than its predecessor, but that's better in the sense that death by shooting is better than death by boiling. Outside of cities, electric cars face a chicken and egg situation. Until there are enough EVs on the road, there's not much point in installing loads of charging points. But until there are loads of charging points, there's no point in really shelling out for an electric car. Things are improving, but charging points are still pretty rare outside of big cities, and fast chargers are rarer still. If a camel is a horse designed by a committee, then ULTRAVIOLET is a digital service designed by a camel. It doesn't play nice with iTunes, HD discs sometimes give you SD downloads, and you can't download HD content to iOS devices for offline viewing. Other than that though, it's just dandy. If the Spike Jonze movie Her featured a real digital assistant, it'd be an hour and a half of an increasingly angry man bellowing the same thing at a smartphone before smashing it to pieces in a fit of fury. Voice recognition is a lot better than it used to be, but it's still a long way from being perfect. You'd think nearly 100 years after jetpacks appeared in sci-fi stories we might be finally flying around in them, but the problem with jetpacks is that we humans aren't really designed to fly. Getting us airborne needs powerful propulsion, i.e. lots of highly flammable fuel. It'll get you up there, but not for long, and if it all goes wrong, the consequences are of the crashy, explodey death variety.